Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to What's Up Wednesdays, the professionals of the Roundtable, always brought to you by Healing Your Way, who you can find on Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, TikTok, all of the places. And please don't forget, if you like our podcast, to like, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and leave a comment. It really does help us out. Today we are joined by...
Oh, I'm Monica McGrow. I'm an acupuncturist in Phoenixville and with Needle and Nourish, and also with Dr. Danny Coyne at Healing Your Way, practicing in Doylestown on Mondays and Wednesdays in Newtown. And then we'll see what happens when the third center opens up in Levittown.
Well, thank you so much for joining. I always love having you on.
Same.
Today we are talking about what I think is a very exciting topic: a holistic approach to the female body. So when we say a holistic approach, what are our defining terms?
Well, for me, I guess I always, rather than talking theoretically, I just like to talk about my experience because I feel like it's something that I can talk about with a little more confidence. So, I mean, as an acupuncturist, that is considered a holistic approach. It's approaching the whole person, whether it's HOL holistic or WHOLE holistic. So it's the whole idea of understanding that the mind and the body and the spirit, soul, the emotional health, the physical health, mental health are all intertwined, and you really can't unravel problems in one area without addressing the other areas. So when a woman comes in and says, that she has IBS, we're not just looking at fixing, her maybe chronic diarrhea or constipation. We're looking at, why did this happen? What is your stress level like? What is your history like? How's your mental health? And kind of trying to unpack those areas. And again, I used IBS as an example, but it could be anything from, and just speaking to women's health, IBS to, young women who have their periods, maybe women who are contemplating trying to get pregnant, so working with fertility, who are struggling getting pregnant and trying to conceive, and working with patients who are struggling with infertility. And then you have those women who, are in perimenopause, just I feel like doesn't get enough attention. It starts early in your 40s and it can last months to years. So supporting kind of that mark.
Yeah. Have you taken a holistic approach to your own personal body?
I did. So what's interesting, and it's a vivid memory for me. So when we were in school, we used to have to go to but we could go to our student clinic. And, you're a student, you don't have a lot of money, so free things are nice. And if you signed up to go last minute, you got to go for free. So I remember sitting in, the treatment room, and I hope this isn't TMI, but I feel like sharing your experiences is part of a holistic approach to women's health. So here we go, talking about all the things. But I've always had heavy, painful periods with severe mood swings, like right before that PMS-y, stereotype. And I remember when they were going through the intake, kind of like sloughing it off like it was no big deal. And that became actually the center of my treatment, even though I think I was coming more for like stress and anxiety being a student. We went to that equally. So there's part of that holistic approach. Like, here I'm coming for one thing and they're saying, yes, we can help you with that, but let's also look at all these other pieces. And I remember the one quote that the practitioner who was supervising said, and it was, just because it's your normal doesn't mean it has to be your normal, or that it's good and healthy. And I don't want to say right, because that means right or wrong, but there is a better way. And just because you're used to it doesn't mean that's how it has to stay. So I went once a week for probably 8 weeks. And it was the first time in my life that I remember getting my period regularly. Like, it was like a 28-day cycle versus like 30 or 38 days. I remember it was like a 4-day, actual time of bleeding, no clots, no cramps. And it was amazing. And, that was in my 30s. So that's a long time to go from like 12 to mid 30s with painful periods where you're having to call out of work. And then having that happen, and I did continue for a little while, and this is acupuncture and holistic health for you. You do have to keep up with it. And then I remember, like, life happens and, things got busier and I stopped going, and it lasted a while, but then I did learn that I had to go, at least once a month to to maintain everything. But to this day, I don't have any issues. I have a lot of women. I know Mina one time said you're going to attract the people whose experiences you've had, and in that respect, she's correct. I've had quite a few women come to me for the same thing, and the last patient I had, who I'm actually seeing tomorrow, came twice and had her cycle like that within that time that we were seeing each other. And she's like, I'm going to be coming all the time. She goes, that was amazing after 2 sessions. She has 2 young children. So for her to be able to function and give everything she has without having to sit out for, over a week was a gift for her. So.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like the perfect example in a way. Because when you think about the cycle, your period, everything you do affects it. Everything. Yeah. Your stress levels, your hormones, your diet, the amount of sleep that you're getting.
Yep. And there's no trophies for, like, pushing through. I mean,
yeah.
It's even, I think about the times, I would, at the time I was a teacher, I would go through just being like, well, this is just what your body is, and this is just what you have to do. And you go, and like that whole week you're sitting there trying to teach a classroom of 25 kids, and you're just like, do your independent work and just be quiet. And you really can't do your best anyway. So why not take 1 hour a month, once you get the ball rolling, and be able to show up your fullest self every day. So
yeah. Don't lose a week of your life. Yes. Week of your month, it's valuable time.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we step like outside of that, what if we talk about appearances? Because I feel like that's one of those things that, is pushed upon us. Is there a holistic approach that we can take there?
Yes. So one of the specialties that I took a couple classes on, and I'm trying to develop in my center, and hopefully maybe at Healing Your Way, is microneedling. So I know right now fillers and laser treatment and Botox are, becoming increasingly popular among all ages of women today. So what microneedling is a holistic approach to being able to maintain a more youthful appearance, or to try to transition, I would say, even into aging a little more, I don't want to say gracefully, but maybe having more control over how you want to appear as you age, because I think there's grace in no matter what choice you make. But what I like about microneedling is that, yes, it is a more holistic approach, kind of like the cycle example. It takes a little more time. I mean, if you have cramps, you can always pop a couple Advil. If you want to do Botox, you go in for your treatment. Something like microneedling is going to take a little more time. But what's nice about it is that it promotes that natural healing in your body. So something like a filler or something like Botox, it's an outside in type of treatment. So you do have to go back repeatedly to maintain those. But what's nice about the microneedling and the facial acupuncture is that it promotes your body's own healing and rejuvenation. So once you get to that point where you've had all the treatments and you're in a nice set spot, it actually lasts longer because your body takes over all the heavy lifting. You're not relying on your dermatologist and the injections.
Yeah. Is it? Oh, sorry. We got a question. How soon can you start microneedling? Like, is there an age limit?
Honestly, I mean, I haven't. Usually, the people I see are, I would say, in their 20s and above. I mean, I'm going to be fully transparent. I've never seen a contraindication for starting it, but I don't think you'd want to disrupt your body's ability to promote its own collagen at a young age. Kind of like you don't want to inhibit say, a young man's growth by having him lift weights too early. Things are still developing. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't want to do anyone younger than, I would say, 21. But that's just a personal thing. I could look into that and get back to you because I hate to give out misinformation. So my final answer to that, in a typical Monica roundabout fashion, is I haven't seen any contraindications to starting early. But what I know about holistic medicine is it's about promoting and enhancing. If someone's collagen is fully intact, I wouldn't want to go in there and mess with it. I want to enhance something that's deficient before I enhance something that's intact.
And that makes sense. I mean, there's like skincare has had a boom in like the past, well, I would say like maybe year and a half, 2 years. And so there are all these posts and warnings online for younger kids who are still in high school. Like, hey, maybe you don't really need the retinol.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole idea, I think, you know, we even talked about this before we started. The whole idea of, I think, even doing any kind of cosmetic microneedling or facial acupuncture, I feel like your intent has to be there. The risk awareness has to be there, the choice, it has to be self-directed. And I feel like if you're doing that, maybe when you're 16, it's the intent, the reasoning isn't there yet. You don't do that because, you know, the whole idea is to help with fine lines, wrinkles, collagen decreases in the body. And if those aren't there, you know, I feel like the whole picture, it isn't the best holistic approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Facial gua sha versus microneedling. What is your preference and why? And while you answer, I found a thing that I wanted to show you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to grab that and you answer. I can still hear you.
I'm going to be fully transparent. I haven't done a whole lot of work with facial gua sha. My experience with gua sha has tended to be more for releasing muscles and releasing the exterior for, you know, more like wind or cold invasions. However, I know it's a great tool. And what I like, I would say, if I don't want to pick, if that's a fair choice, I love microneedling. And if I had to go to an acupuncturist for it, that's what I would go for, because that's not something I can do at home for myself. But I think the idea of using gua sha to enhance and as an in-between home treatment is great. A great analogy I feel like for that would be, you go to acupuncture and you go get your acupuncture maybe for IBS or, you know, low back pain or sciatica, but then you take herbs to help support your treatment in between. So I feel like I don't want to do a one or the other. So what I would say is do the microneedling because it's a wonderful experience. I love having it done. I love doing it. It is a little deeper, I feel like, than gua sha. Same acupuncturist use gua sha and needling together. I feel like the same thing applies. And then you do gua sha in between your treatments to help support the work that's being done with your acupuncturist.
What's the difference between, this is my lack of education. Yeah. What's the difference between facial acupuncture and microneedling?
So facial acupuncture, which I don't do, it's a whole nother set of things, is more similar to inserting the needles into muscles to kind of tighten and lift them. It's a little more of a specialty. Microneedling, it's inducing collagen through microtrauma. So typically you have a pen, and the particular pen that I have has about 25 needles in a square. They're super tiny. And you kind of numb the face and you put on hyaluronic acid and you kind of go across the entire face. Or maybe if you're just trying to target an area, a specific area. The needles cause a microtrauma. And when the microtrauma happens, it induces kind of a healing response. And that healing response causes immune cells to clear debris. And then it also causes fibroblasts to induce the collagen and the elastin. And then over time, those fibers tighten up the skin. So, and it's called I think it's like extracellular matrix. I haven't gone over the vocabulary in a little while, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But it tightens and kind of reforms that over time. So that's how that is a little bit different than facial acupuncture. Facial acupuncture, they're inserted in specific spots, and they're actually, I think, more to sculpt the face, whereas microneedling is something that increases blood circulation. It doesn't still improve muscle toneness and firmness, and by supporting that collagen and the blood circulation, it helps increase oxygen and nutrients also to the face.
Okay, that makes sense. Here is
a great question, because I do like to be specific, because I feel like they are two different things. They often get lumped together. But it was a great question.
Yeah, it's like different intentions.
Yes.
They are. So this is my trinket. It's a gua sha brush. It's
okay.
For lymphatic drainage. It's for people who are afraid to do like long-term damage by improper use of like the jade or the metal gua sha, but it does the same thing. It's super soft.
I love that, because I love that you took the time to be like, it's not just something I can watch a girl on YouTube and kind of go ham with it. I mean, these are tools. They need to be used properly. And I like how you did that kind of risk assessment by saying, hey, I want to do this for myself, but I also want to build in some sort of a safety factor. So
I'm a heavy-handed person. I work with dogs. There's a little bit of force behind the knuckles. So I knew that it wasn't a good option, but genuinely, the cheekbones are coming back.
That's awesome.
They're cheekboning, you know? So I saw that we were doing that. I had to dig it out of my makeup bag before we started. And of course, I forgot to move it over to my things, because that's what I do.
No, it's the benefit of working from home.
It's a trinket. Can acupuncture help pregnancy, getting pregnant, delivery, and recovery?
Okay, that's a lot. Can you break it down for me again? The first one was?
Let's start at the beginning, getting pregnant.
Okay, so as far as getting pregnant, I mean, the first step before even getting pregnant is, there's a lot of women walking around with dysmenorrhea and amenorrhea. So either an overly heavy period or a light period or irregular cycles. So we kind of touched about how acupuncture can help regulate those. So that would be step one. Also, if you're trying to get pregnant, there are points that increase circulation they decrease vascular resistance, which increases circulation in general, and also dilate the blood vessels. So by increasing blood circulation systemically, you are increasing blood circulation to the uterus and the lining, which also helps nourish the uterus and the lining, which is where implantation happens, but also the follicle, which is where the egg is. So you are nourishing that. And I would say too, I mean, I know we say it, and I feel like it becomes ad nauseum, but it's so true. It also decreases cortisol, and cortisol has a strong negative effect on the body's reproductive system. It actually can suppress certain things. There is an axis. I want to say it. Oh my God, is it the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis? It's HPO axis. I think that's what it stands for. And when you do have an excessive amount of cortisol in your system, it can actually then also influence your FS, your follicle stimulating hormone, and your luteinizing hormone, which are also very important. So I think by going to acupuncture in that time when you're trying to conceive, again, you're increasing blood circulation, you're nourishing the uterus, you're nourishing the follicle, and you're also balancing those hormones that are so important for ovulation and conception.
So that active pregnancy.
I think I've worked with a few women who are pregnant, and I feel like, again, that getting the nutrients to where they need to go is so important when it comes to taking care of the baby. But also, I mean, it's an emotional thing for a woman. So you're regulating hormones, you're regulating emotions. There's everything shifting. There's a lot of back pain, tenderness, and a lot of different areas. So yes, acupuncture can help with some of the discomfort I feel like that goes along with that, and some of the emotions.
Yeah. And then delivery.
It's interesting. We're not supposed to say we induce pregnancy, so I will not say that we can induce pregnancy. But there are a lot of points that women do come in and say that they're past their due date and they're being induced on a certain day. So we just think we can help support your pregnancy at this time. And there are specific points actually you're not allowed to do on women who are pregnant. But if they're in that last stage, they have a really strong downward bearing motion. And that if you do those, it can help move things along.
That's our secret.
Yes, it is not induced, but there are points that we can do later in pregnancy that might support that stage of pregnancy.
It's not inducing, it's encouragement. There's a very big difference.
Like, come on out.
We're cheering for you, babe. Yeah. And then how about recovery?
So recovery is interesting. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, there's the physical recovery. So it helps support that because, we help support, not the immune function. Oh my gosh, the healing response. But also, I mean, all the mental pieces that go along with it, lactation, sleep. So all the things I feel like that get disturbed because of the whole process of something like giving birth can be addressed. I know it's great too for chronic fatigue, and in traditional Chinese medicine we talk about like an individual's Jing and essence, and I know childbirth is one of the major things that can deplete that. So there's definitely points on the body that can help promote energy with an individual. These new moms, they're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, they're losing sleep, so they need all the energy they can get for their growing family, and also to support their own body as it feels.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
and I want to say, and I'm going to throw in there too, I mean, talking about all the things, postpartum depression is, I love that people aren't afraid to talk about it anymore. So, I think it's emotional, what's the word? Promoting emotional balance and wellness is a huge part of acupuncture and holistic medicine and women's health. So I think that's a huge, acupuncture is a wonderful tool for a woman who's just had a baby who might be feeling that she's experiencing some of those signs and symptoms as well.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important to talk about.
Yep.
There, it's so easy to feel alienated and just alone in that dark spot.
Yes. So. And what's amazing, and this has nothing to do with acupuncture, but there is she just calls it a woman's circle. She's a woman at the other place I practice, and part of it going to that, I've only gone once, but I will definitely be going back, is you go, and one of the women there shared some things, and she said, I feel so alone. I'm surrounded by people, and I feel so alone by some of the things that I feel like I'm not battling, but trying to navigate in her life. And it was amazing. Once she shared that, she found out so many other people were having that experience. And I feel like, when it comes to finding any health practitioner, including an acupuncturist, it's being able to go somewhere and sharing your experience and knowing that you're not abnormal, you're not broken, you're not weird for this, that your body's going through something, or your life is taking a turn, and you just need a little help. You know what I mean? So I don't know how I got on that. Oh, postpartum depression. It's not, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong. Your body just went through this huge, process, and this is kind of the turn it's taken, and kind of steer you in a different direction to kind of get to where you want to be and to support your health goals. So,
and I mean, even if we take it just outside of postpartum and just blanket it at depression, being able to set aside an hour for yourself, just to do something for yourself, it does help.
I completely agree.
And there's no shame in reaching out. Everybody's been in a dark place.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. Some people definitely go through it a little bit more intensely. They feel things a lot deeper.
Yep.
Guarantee 110% if you reach out. My DMs are always open. You're just like, hey, hard time. All ears. Guarantee you there's nothing that you can say that somebody hasn't been through before.
Yep.
You're never alone.
I love that. And I think that's such a great thing. That should be a tagline for someone's practice, you're never alone, because it would make a great one. But I feel like what we just said, once you share something, or once you even do that, once you take that time, it's a great model that rest is important. Rest is as valuable as working hard, that it's okay to have boundaries and put them up when you need to go take care of yourself. And it's a sign when you take care of yourself of self-respect. So I think that, people, not all people, but I feel like it tends to be a Western cultural trend to not do these things because it shows, a lack of almost work ethic, or grit. But I really think we talked about earlier, by doing these things, you can show up and work hard and have grit, with more quality if you can do these things. So, and again, for talking about women's health, if you do these things and you have, nieces, nephews, friends, children, this model is really important to set for them too.
110%. Completely agree. We have a question that actually brings me back to like the very beginning here that I wanted to circle back to. Just talking about menopause, post-menopause, and then you mentioned specifically perimenopause.
Yes. So, I mean, from what I know, and again, I'm still always learning, perimenopause can start as early as 40. It's just as your productive stage in life is kind of transitioning into the less productive stage in life. And as these hormones are shifting, as less estrogen and progesterone are being produced, the other hormones in our bodies are being affected. And, it's not always this nice little smooth transition. It's a little jagged. And, there's a lot of memes out there about women and their hot flashes and their mood swings. And it's a transition in life that, it's not a decline. It's a transition, and it's natural. And it would feel, I think, to me, not hopefully, when I go through it, I hope that it's smooth and I don't feel that push and pull all the time. So acupuncture can help, regulate temperature. It can help with the brain fog. It can help, with the night sweats. It can help with sleep. So as you're going through this change, you don't have it. So it doesn't have to feel so, again, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Just like, in pregnancy and postpartum and, your reproductive years, you can get all the love and support, in this stage of your life too. And again, kind of very similar because it has to do with your womanly cycle. It helps by regulating hormones. It helps with blood flow and circulation, pain and inflammation, just all the things that are kind of finding their way through the body in different ways by smoothing those things out. Some of those signs and symptoms that pop out when they're going up and down kind of irregularly don't have to be quite as extreme.
Kind of slowing down the roller coaster.
Yeah, I think about it's such a rudimentary example, and it might be a horrible example as I'm talking it out. But I think about, I have a son and he's 11 and he started middle school this year. So he has to get up significantly earlier, and it's a big adjustment, and it went from summer to like this. So it was abrupt. But what we've learned is to make the transition smoother, we just have to make sure he has plenty of time and support in the morning. So I feel like that's the same idea. Is we could yank him out of bed and shove him out the door and, yell and scream. But if you lovingly hold and support and give time and space, that transition doesn't have to be quite so
hard.
Yeah. Thank you. I could think, again, my brain stops working at 9. So you have, thank God this is 8 until 9.
I am right there with you, but we're getting close.
I should probably stick a couple acupuncture needles in me during our podcast.
That'll be sick. Just get it going. I guess acupuncture is what we're talking about. Can it help prevent hysterectomies and cancers?
Jeez. Oh, that's a really big claim. And it's something I have never considered. I don't know that I can say, I can't say acupuncture prevents cancer. That seems like a very big claim considering we don't know what causes cancer. So I'm going to say I think acupuncture can support the body's health. And if cancer is an imbalance, by keeping the body in balance, maybe it can be preventative. But I don't want to say it can prevent all cancer. I think acupuncture can promote health. I think cancer is in an imbalance. So I'll leave that one there because that's such a big thing to say. Preventing hysterectomies. I don't want to say that either. I really like to, just because I feel like acupuncture is a powerful medicine, but just like Western medicine, just like chiropractics, just like PT, I don't think any one does it all. But I do think that acupuncture, again, can promote uterine and ovarian health. So I think by keeping your uterus and your ovaries receiving the correct nutrients, receiving the correct blood flow, by having the follicle stimulating hormones, the luteinizing hormones, the estrogen and progesterone all in balance, I think that can help promote a healthy uterus. I think it can help promote healthy ovaries.
Do you believe in using birth control? These are all chat questions, by the way.
For some reason, I thought this one might come up. I don't know why, and I was thinking about it today when I got out of the shower. I'm going to say, I think birth control, kind of like the cosmetic acupuncture, breast augmentation, Botox, I think it's a very personal choice. People go on birth control for so many different reasons. And I think, I think it would have to be, when you say prevent going on birth control, is it to prevent going on birth control for what reason? So for example, if you're going on birth control for that reason to prevent birth, no, I don't think acupuncture is going to be a suitable stand-in for birth control. But some people do go on birth control to kind of reset their menstrual cycle because they have dysmenorrhea or amenorrhea.
Yeah.
In that particular sense, I would say yes. I think acupuncture could be something to try before that, because I do think it is natural, and I do think there are a significant number of birth controls that have a significant number of negative side effects. But I'm also going to play devil's advocate to myself. I think that, if you're going to do it, you have to do it correctly, meaning acupuncture. So you just can't come once or twice and expect to reap the benefits of resetting that menstrual cycle system in 2 sessions. Like you have to kind of commit. I know, and it might be the impression I get is there's Dr. Hellstrom down in Doylestown has her practice. And I think one of the things that she does is she knows she has something really great to offer, but she knows there has to be buy-in from the other side. So she had like a consultation to see if it would be a good fit. So when it comes to that question about birth control, I think that would be a conversation you'd have to have with your patient to see, again, why are you not wanting to take birth control? This is what we can do. Can you commit to what it takes to make acupuncture its most effective?
Yeah. Case by case.
Mm-hmm.
I like this question because I'm a nosy person.
Okay.
What is your daily routine that supports your health as a female? Skincare and all.
Skincare and all?
Skincare and all.
Oh God. Do you have an accent? You said all. No, it's like, oh, I felt like.
So I don't know how, because my dad's from Virginia, my mom is from Trenton.
Okay.
Somehow, some way, I grew up with like a little bit of like a twang Southern drawl.
Get out. Okay.
I spent most of my life trying to drop it.
Oh, that's.
I
Nope, it's not dropped. Sorry.
It's okay. You know, it just.
I love it. It was endearing.
Fun facts.
All right, skincare and all. Well, I'm going to be fully transparent. I'm a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of girl. So I always have good intentions. These are all things I do, but am I very good about doing them 365 days a week, 24/7? No. But what I would say is I do, I wash my face. I'm really bad about doing it at night, but I do it every morning. I do use a cleanser that has hyaluronic acid. When I get out of the shower, there's a toner. And then there's a serum. And then there is a moisturizer. I try to drink plenty of water. I think it's really important. I do take fish oils. I take a multivitamin. I think I said to drink a lot of water. If I didn't, I do feel like that's so important. I try to exercise because I do think circulation is really important. So I try to run or walk every day. Some days it might be like a 1 mile walk. Other days it might be a 5 mile run. I try to minimize gluten, dairy, and greasy food because that can contribute as well. And I would say when it comes to like actual skincare, I do like microneedling. I have had it done. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I do. I'm really bad about the gua sha just because half the time I think I would be doing it at night and I'm like falling asleep at night. But if I could add something to my routine, rolling and gua sha would be something I would love to add.
It's like I've seen like 1,000 different kinds of rollers. Like there's like the globes, there's the jade rollers. Is it good to keep those in the freezer?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm totally hanging my dirty laundry out there. I don't know much about that, the in between. I think that's the reason I like microneedling. It's like it's not as intense as say the facial, and it's not as everyday as the as gua sha and jade rollers, but it is like a quick and dirty in between. And I tend to go that middle road. I'm going to look all this up, and I'm going to have another session so I can like redeem myself about home skincare.
That's all right. That's part 2.
Okay.
Let's throw it back to actually, I think it was the very first podcast that I had you on, because you talked a little bit about your personal like mental I guess time that you put aside, like the meditation and is it a podcast? It's an app that you do in the car.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, was that the question? What do I do in general for my whole? I thought it was just for skin health. This is all women's health. Like, how do I support me as a woman's health?
Yeah, how do you support yourself?
Oh, well, there's a whole bunch of other things that I do. Because no, so meditation is really important. I do meditate every day. Sometimes, again, it might be less time, sometimes it's more time, but I feel like meditation is like a mental shower. And I shower every day because it's just to wake myself up. And I feel like that I do a regular shower to wake myself up, but I do the meditation shower to kind of wake my mind up, to really keep that due north and know what's important throughout the day, because there's so many distractions. Talking about women's health, you're pulled in so many different directions. You know, you're a mom, you're an acupuncturist, you're a wife, you're a friend, you're a sister, an aunt, all these things, and you're trying to do them. And in order to do them well, you have to know what's important. So meditation is, to me, so important. So the particular app that I use is, I almost said Unified Practice. That's our electronic medical record system. Is, oh my God, why am I having a brain fart? I'm sorry, Tara. I'm going to look it up right now.
No, you're fine.
I know what the icon looks like because it's right on my screen. Let me see. Insight timer. I knew what the picture was. So I like Insight Timer. There's a lot of, you can just set a timer and meditate on your own. You can just do, there's like chanting on there, which I love. Actually, don't think I'm a weirdo, but sometimes I'll do that in the car in lieu of singing. And then there's also guided meditation. So one of my favorite people on Insight Timer, her name is Sarah Blondin. She's one of those people who can just make you like cry. She's just, what she says and how she says it just really brings to light some really big truths that help, I think, keep me, like I said, due north and focused on the things that I want to feed in my life. And as far as acupuncture, I do go once a month. I have a regular acupuncturist, not only for the menstrual cycle stuff, but for just that mental clarity and support as well, the emotional pieces and stress regulation. I take herbs. Dr. Danny has a great one. I forget what it's called. I know Anne Marie calls it her happy pills. So I feel like, you know, I tend to like get a little cranky. I think if I get things aren't going my way and I get frustrated, and if I haven't moved enough that day or had enough water, eaten. So they're nice to kind of catch the crankies if life is pulling you in other directions. I like to write. I think journaling is important. Again, it's not always like, you know, Lord of the Rings or anything, but I try to write at least like 3 things I'm grateful for every day. It's easy to focus on, you know, what didn't go wrong, but I think, you know, at minimal, a gratitude journal of listing 3 things, you can find 3 things. So I do that. We talk about dogs.
I love dogs.
I got to get in a snuggle with them every day. They just have a way of when you're, you know, in here, they bring you back to here, because you can't be with a dog without just being absorbed into their presence and where they are.
I always say they remind you to stop and smell the flowers.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, sometimes literally, because they do smell the flowers.
Or the leaves, or the seeds, the grass.
And something else, I mean, this is small, but again, sometimes the small things are helpful things. I try to keep lists, and I try to make sure they're not overwhelming. So, you know, in addition to that list of 3 things, I try to make sure I gratitude journal. I always have a list of at least 3 things I want to get done that day. Because if you try to get everything done, you had to get done every day, it just wouldn't happen. But if you get those 3 things done, that feeling of accomplishment can go a long way. And I also have a list of 3 things. It's actually not less, it's actually more than 3. And I always try to jot down things that I want to do for fun, because sometimes you get those moments where you're like, I have a free second, and my mind tends to go to right to what should I do? What could I do? But sometimes it's important to do what I want to do. So having that list of things that I want to do, I have there, because if I have that moment, you know, in a day or a night, a weekend, where it's like, oh, wait a second, I'm not in the middle of the storm. Sometimes I'd like to be able to go to that want list. I don't know if you've ever had that where you have free time and sometimes you're going through your mind trying to think of what you want to do, and before you know it, the hour is done and you've done nothing. Like channel surfing, like life channel surfing. Mm-hmm. So I think that having that list is kind of a nice anchor too.
Yeah, something.
And a nourishing one, not a, you know, not a productive one, but, you know, something that's just food for the soul.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I set aside at the minimum 20 minutes every night to read a book,
That's
which
great.
15-year-old me would hate that right now. But genuinely, 15, 20 minutes usually turns into about an hour. But that's what I look forward to all day. Hard day at work, I don't care, because my fictional world is waiting for me.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It sounds juicy.
It helps so much. And there's always so much drama that I don't have to be involved in, because they're fake people.
What are you reading?
Oh, so much. So much. I just read Boys of Toman. Right now, I am reading, hold on, it's on my Kindle. I just started reading this one. It's called The 31st Trick-or-Treater, because, you know, Halloween's right there.
Right.
So every year, like, 30 or so kids go missing from this block, and then they're all supposed to come back in like this big kaboom. I'm only on page like 20 right now. I just started it, but something to look forward to, you know?
Yes, I do.
And it's spooky season. You can find something for every occasion.
Yes.
Aww. He likes to say hi. Ooh, can you talk about bone health for women, because a lot have osteo.
Yep, all good. Osteoporosis or even osteopenia. So there's so many. I mean, if I want to go into traditional Chinese medicine, the bones are governed by the water element, and the water element is controlled by the kidneys and the bladder. And what's interesting is the kidneys and the bladder are also associated with your jing and your essence, which is what you kind of come into the world with. It's kind of like your genetics, basically. It's your reserves, and you have to kind of make that last your life. And you can contribute to it by eating well, but it kind of just is on a decline as you age. So it's interesting that the kidney and the bladder, the water element, is associated also with bones and aging. So as you age, your jing and your essence decline, and so does your bone health. However, there are points on the kidney channel and there are points on the bladder channel that support bone health. There's also points along the back, what the empirical point for bones and also for blood. And they're very associated with each other, are on the back. So you can promote, I wouldn't say, like how calcium is metabolized in the body to help bone density. So same way you could take medication to increase bone density in those cases, I do believe acupuncture can be a great complementary therapy for supporting bone health. And I know less about herbs, but I shouldn't say 100% because that's not true, but I'm 99% sure that there's an herb to help promote bone health as well. It would go well with acupuncture. And I know Dr. Coyne always says too, you know, about bone broth. I mean, bone broth is marrow. So if you're trying to also nourish bones, there's also things you can do that are dietary. So I know bone broth would probably be one of his go-tos.
What kind of things are we doing, like, unknowingly in our day-to-day life that might be causing detriment?
For women specifically, I feel like we don't do enough weight-bearing exercises to keep our bone strength up. So I think that doing those types of things would be really beneficial, because we can, I don't know how much we can, what's the word, reverse it, but I think you can prevent it if you can start doing those things earlier. Kind of like we said about addressing some of the hormonal changes, you know, your reproductive years to help support when you're going through perimenopause. I think, you know, right around 40, when you're kind of going from those reproductive to less productive years, when you're going from max bone health to decreased bone health, if you can start focusing on adding some weight-bearing exercises earlier, that's great preventative medicine, I think.
It's also, this is my public service announcement. Don't be afraid to lift weights as a woman. Don't be afraid. We do not harbor the same amount of testosterone for us to go in and come out looking like John Cena. Don't be afraid to lift weights. They're good for you.
And I love that you said that. And I have a couple nieces who are at Penn State, and I had a classmate who was in her 20s. She was a power lifter, and I had a few patients come in who were power lifters. Some even competed, all women. So I love that even if you don't come out looking like John Cena, but even if you're wanting more of a lean, I mean, I just like that there's so many more, that's not the way I want to say it either. I love that women are embracing such a range of what it looks and feels like to be healthy and fit. You know what I mean? So you said don't be afraid. I'm like, no, don't be afraid. In fact, going in and, having some tone and I mean, she was taking like protein powder because she was trying to bulk and she was trying to meet a certain amount of protein throughout her day, and she was trying to lift a certain amount of weights and max out. I mean, she just had all these wonderful goals, and she's wonderful. She's bright. She's smart. She's happy. She's healthy. And she's probably not going to have osteoporosis or osteopenia because she's doing all these things, in her early 20s. So
Absolutely. And I think with that, it's also very important to set realistic goals for yourself, because I can work out all day, every day, but I am never going to look like Kendall Jenner. My body's not built like that. So it's really important to embrace the body that you have. And my dog is tunneling under the blanket. It's important to embrace the body that you have and treat it well, because you can't change your bone structure and you can't change your genetics. Nope. But you're just as beautiful as everybody else.
That is so true. And none of us, like what you said, we're not meant, we didn't come into the world all the same. We don't go out all the same, and we're not going to be all the same in the middle. And that's, to me, talk about holistic health. That's something I feel like that needs to be embraced. Just that. I mean, just knowing that we're all supposed to be different. Like, we shouldn't be trying to make ourselves the same. So very true. Very true. And I'll be honest, that's kind of a hard one. I've been trying to navigate this. I have a particular patient who two come to mind. One, we're trying to support her. She actually has IBS, and we're trying to support her. And it's a shame because I think she had a lot of years of laxative abuse, like 20-some years. And when I came out and asked, was it because you were chronically constipated, or was it more because, you had weight concerns? She did say it was because of weight, which to me suggests eating disorder. So there's that repercussion. That repercussion sounds a little punitive, but there's that ripple effect of when you do try to make yourself and go to these extreme measures, sometimes you have very chronic, long-lasting effects. And now, 20 years later, it's having chronic diarrhea and really bad distension and pain and bloating, and trying to navigate how to manage that. And another case that comes to mind in the spirit of talking about, why it's so important to embrace yourself and support women embracing themselves and who they are and how they look and whatever their intents and goals are in their life, keeping in mind of what the intention is I had one woman, and she's always saying that she's trying to lose weight, and the different things that she's trying to. So it's trying to support her in that goal for herself, when I myself am like, well, you look really strong and healthy. But also, I mean, it's a really interesting dance as a practitioner when you have people who you have to meet them where they're at. You know what I mean? So you're trying to support their goals, and sometimes I feel like you can't go right to the last chapter with them. You know what I mean? You have to kind of support those baby goals and have those conversations in between. And I know we only have 5 more minutes, but it reminds me too, Dr. Coyne had a patient, and it's happened a couple of times where, there might be, signs and symptoms, and it's clearly related to lifestyle. But I love how he might make like one small suggestion, you know what I mean? Because even though I think the most beautiful goal is what you said, for us all to just love ourselves, be confident, accept who we are, and the range, not everyone is ready to hear that. And what I love even about the name Healing Your Way is it's your way, like your way how you see it and my way, how I see it, are not always going to be the same at this moment. Like, I think that with the right intention, we all get to that same endpoint. But I think what's really nice about the practitioners at Healing Your Way is I think that's one of the mindsets everyone has is we want to support your health, we want to support your goals, we want to support health, and we want to meet you where you're at. You know what I mean? That's people come in at different parts of their journey.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And I also just food for thought. Think about somebody that you would consider your hero. They're your hero because of something that they've done, not because of how they look. So in that same breath, treat yourself the same way. If you want to work out or you want to make your body healthier, do it because of what your body can do and not because of how your body looks.
Exactly.
Just something.
Yeah, my sister, I love her. She's my older sister. She was like a mom. She is like a mom. But she always said, like, your body's a tool. You know what I mean? And you have the exact tool that you need to do the work in this life that you need to do. So, you know, we're not all going to be hammers. Some of us are going to be screwdrivers. Some of us are going to be jackhammers. Some of us are going to be, you know, the teeny Allen wrench.
Hacksaw. Lives on hacksaw.
I don't know. I don't know what I am.
We'll figure it out. It don't have to be today, but we'll figure out one day. I think we're both very much nearing our bedtime. So.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. This would be a whole other show if it were like 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
It's Healing Your Way after dark. So.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But you know what? You're gonna get our rawest and realest.
That's okay. At least they know we're honest. So I'm gonna wrap us up here. Thank you so much for joining us today for Healing Your Way Professionals of the Roundtable. I always love having you on. As always, don't forget we are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Rumble, all the places. And if you like the podcast, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and leave a comment because we love you so much. Monica, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And I'll see everyone next week. Good night. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna log out.
I don't know how to log out.
Do you have the little box at the bottom with the arrow?
Yes. Just click it. Okay.
Yeah. Ready? 3, 2.
It's like bloopers.